Hello and welcome to another video. I'm Everett Hoffman, and today we're going to talk about the basics of shutter speed. So first things first, what is a shutter speed? Shutter speed is a measurement of the amount of time we're letting light to hit our image sensor. So every camera is going to have a shutter in some sort of way, and that shutter works a lot like how our eyelids do in relation to our eyes. So when our eyelids are open, we're allowing light in to hit our eye. And when our eyelids are closed, we're blocking that light from hitting our eye. So the shutter is essentially the eyelid to our image sensor. So when that shutter is open, we're allowing light in to hit our image sensor. When that shutter is closed, we're blocking the light from hitting our image sensor. So this is measured on a number scale, and that number is going to be displayed either one of two ways on your camera. The first one is going to be in the form of a fraction, and that's going to read 1 over whatever number your camera's shutter speed is set to. And all that 1 means is 1 second. So it's going to be 1 divided by whatever this other number is. So say that number is 250. It's going to read as 1 divided by 250, which all that means is your camera's taking a photo at 250th of a second. So say we increase that number to 8,000. Now your camera is taking a photo at 8,000th of a second. So that's the first way your camera is going to display shutter speed. So the second way your camera may display this is as a solid number. And all that solid number is the back end of that fraction. That doesn't mean anything. The camera's still taking a photo at 250th of a second or 8,000th of a second. It's just not showing you the added information of 1 over. It's just showing you a solid number saying, hey, this is the end result that you need to worry about, and here it is. So what should we know about those numbers? I've got my camera here so I can demonstrate what I'm talking about. The higher the number, the faster your camera's taking a photo, which basically means the faster your shutter is blinking over the image sensor. So let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. My camera is set to 1 over 4,000. So whenever I press this button here, the shutter is going to close. And the second that shutter closes, the photo has already been taken. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. All right, and there you have it. That's 1 photo taken. But we don't really understand the speed of the shutter speed until I do a rapid fire. So let's go ahead and see how fast the shutter actually is. So there's an example of what your shutter looks like when it's set to a higher number. It moves incredibly fast. Now, 2 things happen when you have your shutter set to a higher number. Number 1, the higher the number, the darker your image is going to be. And that's because your shutter is opening and shutting so fast, the amount of time light has to hit your image sensor is significantly less. So that means less light is hitting your image sensor, which makes your image darker. Number 2, the higher the number, the easier it becomes to capture moving objects. So if I'm waving towards the camera and I take a photo with a high shutter speed, then it will essentially look like my hand is frozen in time. So it just reduces the amount of motion blur for moving objects. So on the other side of this scale, we have our low numbers. And the lower the number, the longer it takes your camera to take a photo. So let me go ahead and show you what that's gonna look like. My shutter speed is set to 2 seconds. And what that means is after I press this button, that shutter isn't gonna close until the photo is complete. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. And there you have it. There's your slow shutter. That's how long it took to take that photo. But to really get an idea of how slow this is, I'm gonna hold this button down and we're gonna take some consecutive photos. So there you have it. That's how long it takes my camera to take a photo at shutter speed of 2 seconds. So when your shutter speed is at a lower number, 2 things will happen. Number 1, the lower the number, the brighter your image is going to be. And that's because your shutter is staying open for a longer period of time, allowing more and more light to hit your image sensor, and when you have more light, that's going to create a brighter image. Number 2, the lower the number, the harder it's going to be to capture moving objects. So if my hand's waving again, and I'm taking a photo at a slower shutter speed, then my hand is going to appear to be blurry in the photo. And that's because at the start of the photo, my hand could be here, and at the end of the photo, my hand could be here. And my image sensor is capturing all of that motion between the starting point and the ending point. So my hand's gonna appear to be blurry. And that's where you get motion blur at a slower shutter speed. So that about wraps up our basic building blocks of using your shutter speed. Tune in next week when I cover how your shutter speed relates to your frames per second when shooting a video. So as always, like and subscribe for more content like this. Smash that bell to be notified when I post another video. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one.